This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? Today's Friday, March the 12th of 2021. Day 71 of the year and only 294 days left to go. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. Of course, that's where we're coming from. And of course, streaming across the multiverse of Safety FM and then hanging out with our friends, well, at that other place that we hang out at.
Always streaming. Radio Big.
So hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are starting off this lovely Friday morning, as you already are aware, because you're going to hear it over and over and over and over and over again. This is Spring Forward Weekend. Or you can follow up like my friend David Lee Roth and just jump in to the next week. As we spring forward an hour here in the lovely U.S. of A. If you're in one of those glorious states that gets to do that. I remember for a period of time, there was some conversation that here in the glorious state of Florida, they were going to go ahead and turn around and have Florida time, but apparently that never seemed to hit the light of day. So anyways, that's not important. Anyway, so let's get to talking, some moving, some grooving, some information, talking about some other things. So because I have messed it up over the last little bit, because it has definitely been a mess up, because I have not mentioned it, I have not done it, I have not played it. Let's start off our day right, even before we get into the trends and what exactly is trending. And let's talk to my friend, John Smalls, and let's see what gets us motivated for today.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Lolly Daskell says, life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. I think this would actually be a great quote for every business owner to think of right before they try to create a piece of marketing material. Whether it's an ad for the radio or TV, or a post on social media, or even just a sign in front of your store. Make sure that it's saying what you want it to say. Not just the words, but the wording, and how it's meant to be perceived. And then how it's actually perceived. Every message you put out is an opportunity to create an image that tells the story that you want to tell. So when you're doing that, make sure you tell the story wisely. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
So there you go, Motivation Minute, starting off with John Smalls. Hopefully you agree with what he has to say. If you don't, that's perfectly fine as well. We still love you the same way. You know, the interesting part is that he does bring up something extremely good there in regards of how important is the information that you do provide. I mean, sometimes we post on socials just to post. Sometimes we put out marketing material just to market, not exactly trying to make sure that people will understand exactly what it's supposed to mean. I think that might be slightly important. Anyway, so let's continue talking as we do talk about every day of the week, the things that are trending. So as we are getting into the weekend, let's talk about some of those video on-demand services and what they have going on this weekend. So new to Amazon Prime will be Honest Thief. New to Disney, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That'll be available. No WandaVision, because that's no more for right now. I think Falcon and Falcon and something or other comes out next week, but leave it as is. New to HBO Max will be Isabel and the movie Speed. New to Hulu will be Farewell Armor. And then new to Netflix, Paper Lives, The One, and Yes Day. What? There's a day for yes? I mean, I guess that could be a thing, depending on how you want to take a look at it. So anyways, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, going through and around and about and all that kind of fun stuff. Before I forget, because I want to make sure that we do talk about this, we got a contest going on right now. So if you have the opportunity to do so, you can come by to the website under Safety FM. Safety FM. Go to safetyfm.com/contest. And right there, you'll have the opportunity to enter into the little contest that we're doing. That's safetyfm.com/contest. What we are giving away is a one-on-one 2-hour session divided into two to 3 lucky winners. To actually sit down, talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about, that be it from safety, the world of podcasting, the world of broadcasting, setting up your own little studio stuff, all that kind of fun stuff. Anything you want to chat about, we can do that as we go through and go forward and talk about a lot of things going on. Anyway, so that's what we have going on first thing in the morning. Let's talk a little bit to our friends at the feature story of the news as we get them moving and grooving. And let's see what they have to say with their glorious 3 minutes of news coming your way.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. US President Joe Biden says every American adult will be eligible for a vaccine by May the 1st, with the goal of getting the nation closer to normal by July the 4th, Independence Day. In his first primetime address to the nation as president, he told Americans he felt their suffering and laid out an optimistic view of the future, as Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
He tried to remind them what he has done, what his administration is doing to turn things around and then give them hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel and normality could resume relatively soon.
If we do this together, by July the 4th, there's a good chance you, your families and friends will be able to get together in your backyard or in your neighborhood and have a cookout and a barbecue and celebrate Independence Day.
But the idea for that is that this will only happen if all Americans play their part, he says, and that means continuing to wear a mask, continuing to social distance, and importantly, to take that vaccine. And that is a big problem here in the US because there is a large level of vaccine skepticism.
India, Australia, Japan and the US are meeting today under the new Quad framework. The thrust of the virtual talks is likely to be on enhancing vaccine manufacturing. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The plan is to counter China's influence in the Asia-Pacific, but also more largely in the world. Both Beijing and New Delhi are using their vaccine-making capabilities as diplomatic tools, but India hopes to expand its reach even further with the Quad's help. This also falls in line with President Joe Biden's new security framework that prioritizes collaboration with allies to form a common front.
The western Indian city of Nagpur is returning to full lockdown with COVID-19 cases spiking again. A week of lockdown will begin on Monday amid fears new coronavirus variants may be contributing to a faster spread of the virus there. Wales is easing coronavirus lockdown restrictions from Saturday. Stay-at-home guidance will become stay local, and outdoor sports facilities such as golf, tennis and basketball can reopen. From Monday, hairdressers and barbers will be allowed to open, with the easing of restrictions on non-essential retail from March the 22nd. It comes as COVID-19 cases, hospitalisations and deaths continue to fall across the UK. Welsh First Minister Mark Drakeford says the data backs up what is a faster initial reopening than England's.
The English approach is different. I'm sure it's got a solid rationale. We will do things one at a time, whereas they are going to have slightly a more big bang approach, doing a whole basket of things at longer intervals. Our advice from our Chief Medical Officer here is that it is better to stagger things.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
He's the man. It's awesome, funny, random, doesn't make any sense, but it's good.
Jay Allen in the morning on radio.
There you go. There you go. So a lot of stuff going on inside of there as they do talk a little bit about what is going on inside of the world of the news, especially listening to the potential for July the 4th, as it was just being discussed there by our president, Joe Biden, being discussed inside of that information as you were taking a listen. And there's a couple of different other things going on right now. So anyways, let's talk about what's going on inside of the list. Just in case, it is 12 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out here. Alcatraz Island in California is set to reopen next week after being closed for months because of COVID pandemic, of course. The former prison located in San Francisco Bay will resume tours on Monday, with visitors required to wear face masks and practice social distancing at the National Park Services reported. So hold on. Are they still going to close it for a couple minutes for you to kind of feel kind of weird inside of the cell? I'm just asking. Before the virus struck, Alcatraz would accommodate between 5,000 to 6,000 people a day during the summer months. With the reopening, visitors will be limited to 900 people per day, Fridays through Monday, and 600 per Tuesday through Thursday, according to the Mercury News in San Jose. Alcatraz was a prison from 1934 to 1963 when it became a tourist destination in 1973. You know, it's kind of funny. I always go back to that movie that Clint Eastwood did many, many years ago, where he was the escapee from the prison many moons ago. Always think about that particular movie. So there you go. So I don't know. By the way, I was told to ask for this as a favor, so I will ask for it because I've never asked for this before. So if you are listening right now via the streamer or listening just via the actual radio station right now, could you do me a strange favor? But this might actually out you at the same time too. If you're watching us on one of the social media platforms, how about you re-forward it? Re-forward the stream. Post it onto your socials just to see what happens. If you're listening onto the app, well, just go ahead and re-forward the app. If you're listening directly off the website, that might be a little bit more difficult to do. So I was asked to ask for that. Don't ask me who asked to do that. But so I am doing that right now as part of what I was asked to do. So if you're watching on social media, just re-forward it. Yeah, forward it like a post that you would be doing. You know, like the copy and paste gimmick. You know, the thing that people do from time to time. I don't know. Just saying what was there. Anyways, let's continue talking. 1 in 4 adults in the U.S. have received their first coronavirus vaccine. More than 95.7 million doses have been administered nationwide since the inoculation efforts have begun mid-December, according to the latest numbers in the CDC. Over 62.4 million people have gotten at least one shot, while 32.9 million people have been fully vaccinated on the COVID project tracking reports. So there you go. There you go. So there you go. Let's do what does it say? Let's do that, y'all. Really? Re-forward the show. Oh, thank you. Do you mean share? Well, whatever. I guess I mean share to an extent. Did I say share? Well, yeah, share. Whatever. However that works. What do I know?
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
So going back for a moment before I got slightly distracted by what was going on inside of the chatty chat, what do you think? Do you think July the 4th is going to be a realistic date in regards of being able to move forward and doing things with friends and family, the cookout per se, and so on? I am just asking the question. And then that becomes the question once again. How do you feel about the vaccine? How do you feel about those things taking place? Because let's just say that it is a number system. We'll just use it for that for the purpose of the conversation here. Your number gets called, and it's time for you to go and get it. Are you doing it? Are you getting the vaccine? Are you going forward and doing the gimmick? Or do you find inside that there's not enough data in regards of doing so? I mean, there is two very large counteractive things going on of what people think about it. Some people have just plain said that they will not take it, regardless of their number being called, them having the opportunity. I mean, we talk about it all the time of missed appointments. Let's continue talking. A British baroness is suggesting a 6 p.m. curfew for men to make women a lot safer on the streets of London. Yeah, I said that. I said that out loud. Green Party member Jenny Jones, wasn't that like a TV show host at one point, shared her thoughts during a debate on the UK Parliament House of Lords this week in response to the abduction and suspected murders of the 33-year-old Sarah Avard. Jones later explained that her remarks on Facebook, writing, "I responded to local police telling women not to go out alone at night by turning the idea on its head." Video of Jones' comments have circulated social media, prompted hashtag curfew for men as the trend for Twitter. Oh, here we go. Everett went missing earlier this month in London after having her friend's house, leaving her friend's house, apparently I can't speak. A Metropolitan Police officer has been arrested in connection with the death and suspicion of kidnapping, murdering, and incident exposure, according to the city's police department. So here we go. Here we go with this. I mean, of course, it is a subject of conversation in regards of having so. But also, let's kind of look at the other side. Well, let's look at a couple different things of this equation as we are talking about them. So number one, the first thing first, do you agree with men having a curfew for women to feel safer? That's first. And then number two, a few days ago, and of course we're talking about a totally different country, we were talking that retailers in California are now being told that they're trying to pass a law, better saying, in California, that retailers can no longer market as gender-specific clothing. So if all of a sudden this becomes the case of specific in regards of hashtags and certain things to this extent, how do you feel about this curfew now? Because now this is being marketed to men only for women to feel safer. It's kind of a conundrum, as I do bring it up. Now, of course, totally two different countries, totally two different things that I know that I'm trying to mismatch together. But what do you think about it? Thought process? And then here's the thing. If you do not identify with either or, do not identify under X, Y, or Z, What if you're non-gender? How does this work then? How do you know what you can do? I'm just asking because I'm trying to have a better understanding, man. And woman. And binary. Seriously, like, how would this work? It's a different thought process in regards of how that goes on. Anyways, let's continue talking real quick. WalletHub has released its annual Happiest Cities in the U.S. report. Researchers ranked 182 of America's largest cities using positive psychology research to determine which is home to the happiest people in the country. There were 31 key indicators of happiness examined, including rates of depression, sleep, sports participation, working hours, income growth, separation, and divorce. Hello there in the box. How are you doing this morning? So let's give you the top 10 from the bottom to the top. At number 10 was Santa Rosa, California. At number 9, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. At number 8, Columbia, Maryland. At number 7, Lincoln, Nebraska. At number 6, South Burlington, Vermont. At number 5, San Jose, California. At number 4, Madison, Wisconsin. At number 3, Fargo, North Dakota. At number 2, Bismarck, North Dakota. Hold on, a lot of North Dakota going on here. And at the number 1 spot, according to WalletHub for the happiest cities in America, you ready for this? Fremont, California. So there you go, Fremont, California, ranking number 1. As you did see, a lot of states did not even make the sequence, and apparently North Dakota is the place to be happy. I will tell you, I went out to North Dakota at this point. It's been a little over a year. Some happy-go-lucky people there. I was only disappointed to find out that, what was it? Shipped, didn't deliver groceries over there. So let's see. We have Richard Nichols inside of the box. He says the views of Jenny Jones don't necessarily reflect those of the whole country. Well, that's a good point. But, of course, as we are taking things out of context here, because that's definitely what we're doing, it becomes an interesting sequence. And that's the fun part, because at certain points in our lives here in the U.S. of A., I'm sure some things have been taken out of sequence based on 1 or 2 equations there. So I guess as you bring this up of what Jenny Jones has to say, what's your thought process on it? Or does this controversy not help create cash for you? Think about it in that fashion, however you want. Duh.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a judge granted prosecutors a request on Thursday to reinstate a third-degree murder charge against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin in connection with his George Floyd's death. Judge Peter Cahill added that the charge after the Minnesota Supreme Court denial an appeal form of Derek the day prior. Derek had previously rejected the charge. Oh, hold on, lie. Cahill had previously rejected the charge as not warranted, but then an appeal court ruling in an unrelated case established new grounds for it. Derek already faced second-degree murder charges and manslaughter charges. So there you go. Some more information coming out of that particular sequence of events going on with the George Floyd case. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here over the next few months when it comes to it. Anyways, let's continue talking. Stocks rallied higher on Thursday as the NASDAQ popped 329 points, and the Dow rose 188 points, and the S&P added 40 points. The NASDAQ composite lifted 2.5% during the session as technology firms such as Apple, Tesla, and Microsoft, when you put the word saw after Microsoft, it just kind of blends for me. Microsoft saw increase in investments. The first-time jobless claims for last week were fewer than the analysts had forecasted. Wow, that's so insightful information when people say it in that particular one. So where do we go with the play then? I mean, here's what we're seeing. We need to see people on the streets being able to work, the people that are working or that are out there on the streets being able to go back out there and be able to do their jobs. I mean, don't get me wrong, remote working does work as well, but are jobs available for the ones that had to file for unemployment? That's the next section of the question. Anyways, a snake breeder accidentally created a python with a smiley face emoji marking and sold it for about $6,000, 3 times what the prior typical sale goes for. The gentleman said that he spent years trying to perfect the different pattern of lavender albino ball python before one was born with a yellowish smiley face. Yeah, the 3 with a yellowish smiley face. What, you want that? He explained that the happy accident was likely to occur in 1 in 20 snakes that he bred for the rare color combination. While one of the kind of the patterns of the snakes can occur naturally, smiley face emojis would likely not be found in the wild. So there you go. I mean, that's something to think about. All right, what are you going to do? Take that sucker to work and be like, hey, I got a smiley face emoji snake. Seriously, what the hell is wrong with me? Anyways, let's continue talking. SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket successfully launched more Starlink internet satellites into orbit on early Thursday morning. Less than 9 minutes after liftoff, the rocket's reusable 15-story first stage booster touched back down onto the floating ship located in the Atlantic Ocean. The mission was the company's 7th of the year, the 21st 60 satellite Starlink launch. Yeah, there you go. That's a mouthful. It was also the 110th flight of the Falcon 9 rocket and the 76th SpaceX booster landing. SpaceX has now launched more than 1,200 Starlink satellites, making it the largest constellation of artificial satellites that it is currently in space. So if you're not familiar with what Starlink is, and believe me, this portion of the show has not been brought to you by Tesla or SpaceX. But if you are not familiar with it, let me explain this real quick. What Starlink consists of is that it allows you to have internet access throughout the world, according to what they're saying. It is in beta mode currently, but it's supposed to give you high-speed internet regardless of where you're at in the world. Now, here's the thing. The current layout, the closest thing, I'm not saying it's the exact same technology, so let's just make sure that we're clear. Very similar to what DirecTV and Dish Network are, where you have to do the shoot, where it has the antenna, has the device that goes to it, and then shoots up. So I'm going to say if you're out in the middle of the boonies, probably a good idea to have. But if you're in an area that probably already has some very good high-speed internet, the 1 gigs and up, yes, there are areas that have that. I would probably say probably not the best solution currently. Not saying that it won't get better, but I think that this is really for people that are out in the boondocks. Just saying, nothing against the boondocks. It makes the world a little bit of a better place.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard about this, but Texas and Georgia are lowering the age requirement for receiving the coronavirus vaccine with the new guidelines to take effect on Monday. So Texas will allow residents 50 and over to get the vaccine, while Georgia will offer it to people of over 55, according to the Texas Tribune and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The new plans come a day after Alaska said that any adult who wants the vaccine can get the vaccine. So here we go once again with the same conversation over and over and over. Anyway, 28 minutes past the top of the hour. If you get the opportunity to get the vaccine, so let's use the Alaska gimmick. So regardless of your age, you can get the vaccine. Will you do it? Or are you hesitant? Are you hesitant? Or will you do it? What do you want to do? And then that's the other portion. If you could go brand specific, is there a brand you're looking for? Are you looking for Johnson & Johnson? Are you looking for Moderna? Are you looking for Pfizer? And how long have you been looking for Pfizer? No, but seriously, if you had an option of going with one in particular, which one would you go with if you did decide to take it? Now, if you don't decide to take it, that's perfectly fine as well, I guess. I don't know. But I think you're going to kind of be a little bit restricted on the things that you can do. That's what it sounds like to me. So what are you thinking here? Just a thought. Just something to come about. Okay, so we talked about it a little bit before, so let's talk about it a little bit more. The number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits fell for the third time in 4 weeks as business tried to recover from lockdowns. Last week, 712,000 initial job losses claim was brought to the total of for the pandemic to more than 81 million. So since the whole pandemic, more than 81 million people have sought unemployment. Economists were expecting about 725,000 new jobless claims for last week, according to Bloomberg. Unemployment filings are now remained above pre-pandemic record of 695,000 for 51 consecutive weeks. So I want you to think about this, that next week we will be at the year mark. A year mark of seeing these numbers and still people suffering in regards of what's going on. Now, thousands of different things can be said in regards of what should be done. Thousands of different things can be said on, well, we need to do this for the economy of the United States. And you can ask yourself which one's right, which one's wrong. Are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the wrong thing? I don't know. But we are seeing that there's still a lot of people out there that are suffering in that particular regards. And we talk about stocks and we talk about the things that are going on, but we also from time to time have conversations about the bread lines. Yeah, the bread lines. And some people don't want to talk about that. When you have to go out there and you see places like Texas in the Metroplex, that people are waiting for hours to get a hold of food because food banks are giving them out, well, there's still something wrong. There's something going on that's not correct. Now, I can't tell you that I have sat here and read 628 pages of the new COVID relief program that was just signed, because I'd be lying to you. But there are some interesting things that are currently in there. Some good, some bad, some indifferent. Now, until I read all 628 pages, I don't think that I should be able to have any knowledge or be able to speak knowledgeably in regards of what the hell's going on. Reading and retention isn't something entirely different. I think we already kind of know that stuff. At least one would hope that we know that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You did see today, as we were titling the episode, and we're talking safety is a dream. Or is it? And here's the thing. I will tell you, I was hanging out doing some stuff yesterday and was speaking to someone, and we were talking about safety. And we were talking about, well, we were talking about a lot of things, but safety became one of the topics of conversation. Go figure, me talking about safety with some people. And you know, we have had the conversation, meaning you and I, before, that it's very similar to ministry. And we started talking, not you and I, but the person that I was having the chat with, about how sometimes safety is a dream for people. How people think that it is this big aspect that will occur. How they believe that they can be safer by putting X content forward, X question forward, and it becomes a drive, a sequence, and so on. And the person asks the all-important question, which some people don't like, but it is a question. How can you tangibly know that you're safe? Now think about that for a moment. And you can say whatever you want. This is your show. We talk about the things you want to talk about for the most part. But how can you tangibly say that you're safe? How do you know when you are safe? Because here's the thing, and we'll talk about it a million times. I can go into an organization, throw down some ideas, leave that organization, and say, I have just saved that organization $500,000 in accidents. But can you prove it? What are you showing that it's actually being done, that happened? Seriously. So it becomes that weird conversation there. Is it a dream sequence? So is safety a dream? If I can't touch it and I can't feel it, what am I getting? It becomes an interesting question if you really start thinking about it. And I thought it was interesting going through the whole conversation and talking, because we always tell people, if you do this and you do that, you'll be safe. And we kind of stack it. So are they safe because we had these ideas and it was compliance? So did the compliance make our safety dream become true? Or did the object that you sell from your organization, saying that you're in the sales field, your product, make me safer? So did the compliance or did the capitalism make me safer? Or am I still in part of the dream because of the two other items? I'm just asking the question. Think about it real quick. At what point do you know that you're safe? Now, if you put it all into perspective and really start thinking here, where are we going? Where is the information exactly? At what point are you safe and at what point are you not? Or are you being sold a dream? Listen, as you know and I know, we're not going to be able to answer this on this podcast, broadcast, radio show, whatever the hell you want to call it, because most people call my thing a podcast, which it's not. How do you look at this? Because that becomes the portion. That becomes the conversation. Prove to me that your product has helped me. It has made me safer. Prove to me that your compliance has made you safer. Can you? Or is it a dream? All of a sudden, I mean, let's think about it. As we talk about it here in the US of A, sorry for the worldwide audience, but as we talk about it in the USA, people who acquire guns feel safer by having a gun because they believe that they can do X, Y, and Z with it. True? Are they safer or are they more at risk? I'm just asking the question. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot to break down during that particular conversation. So, is it a dream that you are safer? At what point can you prove it? At what point are you not selling a dream? Think about it. Think about it for a brief moment. It's a weird question, especially if you've dedicated your whole life to this. And this is what I always find interesting, because if you take a look at it and you kind of, just for a moment, bear with me as I say this, take a look at it as people that are in the ministry, there's a lot of similarities on what you do. And I'll tell you, I have used that line several times with other people, and it bothers them. Think about it. Why do you think that there's people that go out there and say, I'm a safety evangelist? or they talk about the philosophy of safety, or the psychology of safety. I just want you to think. I could be absolutely off my rocker as I'm talking about this, but this is not a rocker, just in case. But think about it for a brief moment. Is it a dream or is it reality? Because when you're selling me a product that is going to make me safer, how can you prove it? Ooh, some quiet times here at the good old Rated R Safety Show.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. Nothing wants to work all of a sudden. Did I go too dark? Maybe I did. I don't know. Whoever knows around here what the hell's going on. Anyway, so there you go. A lot of information going on inside of the box. Let's get some music going for just a hot second, I guess, is what we'll do next. Da 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 da. I guess this is not going to happen. Music not playing, a lot of stuff not going on. I guess we'll just go back to our regularly scheduled, my friends. Regularly scheduled. Losing a little bit of everything there. That's perfectly fine. Those things do tend to happen. So no music. Wow. I don't know what just happened there. A lot of interesting things going on. Did I make everybody so upset as I did this? Maybe I did. Who knows? So anyways, let's continue talking. I have lost all of my board. I think I have lost all of my board in regards of what's going on. Nothing wants to play all of a sudden. Hey, those things happen. Anyway, so let's continue talking. I have this, though. Duh. So that board works, but that's the only one that does. Interesting times. As we do take a sequence inside of the world of events and all that. So I guess we can talk about this section then if we want to do it in this particular fashion. Why is there no music going on? I guess I'll have to figure it out. So there you go. Let's do this because we need to talk about it because it is Friday. So every Friday we do the exact same thing. We talk about the information that's important to all of us. And, you know, we probably had a lot of Panic at the Disco going on, a lot of things happening. So let's do this. Let's do the 30 seconds. So what do we do here is we take 30 seconds. We kind of look out and about and bow out. So take the next 30 seconds. I will let you know when time is up to scream, shout, let out all the all the frustration from the week out, and we'll go from there. So here you go. Here's 30 seconds on the clock in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and that is time, my friends, in regards of the 30 seconds. So hopefully you were able to get it all out and about and move it all around and do the hokey pokey and shake yourself. Oh, no, that's something else. Okay, so there you go. That's been the 30 seconds. We're still rolling and bowling, moving and grooving here on the Rated R Safety Show as it looks like all systems are a fail at the moment, but hey, whatever. it does happen. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about what is going on inside of the news. I'm just talking about some information going on inside of the world. Anyway, so let me give you this real quick. Student loan. A California university is paying students not to go away for spring break. Students at the University of California, Davis, can earn $75 grant if they agree to stay in town. The UC Davis spokesperson said that the purpose of the grant is to encourage students not to travel during the spring break and provide them with an alternative activities to take part in. The grants can be redeemed at select Davis businesses during the university spring break from March the 22nd to March the 26th. The incentive from UC Davis comes as college around the U.S. are scaling back spring break or canceling it entirely to discouraging partying, and that could spread the coronavirus and raise infection rates back on campus. By the way, for those wondering, University of California, Davis is located near Davis, California, YOLO country. Serious. That's really the county that's more called YOLO, just in case if you did not know this. This is really stirring up some old ghosts for me, because when I was in college, my friends paid me to go away for spring break, so think about that for a moment. Alternative activities, I'm pretty sure that students who stay on campus are going to be doing the exact same things as the ones who head to the beaches, except the beach part. Plus, they can tell their parents they got a scholarship. I mean, look at that. Their parents will be so proud of exactly what's going on right there. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world of the multiverse. News of the weird. So let's talk about it real quick. Yes, dogs are descendants of wolves, but they are not the same. We are not alike. Unless, apparently, you're a zookeeper in China. Visitors of the Zhaoyanian Zoo in China were confused this week when they found a Rottweiler on the wolf enclosure. Oh my. Okay, so there you go. A visitor video went viral after the film The Dog saying, "Wolf, are you a wolf?" He says that the staff told him that he had been a wolf, but then died of old age. The zoo since then, oh my Lord, this is ridiculous. So then the wolf sign was taken down to let them know that it was a dog. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I don't think that's some news breaking information there. So there you go. If totaling your car and barely surviving serious crash while trying to avoid flying couch wasn't bad enough, things even got worse in Washington, D.C. for a couple. After being transported into a hospital in Fort Pierce, Florida, following the rollover of their Toyota Corolla, Jake Singer and his girlfriend were presented with a $166 ticket for failing to drive in a single lane. The couple was returning home after visiting family in Florida when the sofa fell off the truck in front of them to avoid the woman who didn't want to be identified swerved into and collided to the medium, causing the car to roll over. The good news is that they found $3 in loose change near the couch. Seriously, what's going on, Fort Pierce? Welcome to Florida. News of the weird, as always, coming out of there. So let me give you a brief history of daylight savings time, just in case if you're not familiar with it. Let's talk about it for just a brief moment. As of 2 a.m. on Sunday, clocks across the North America spring forward an hour. So do we. So why do we do this? So let's talk about it. The idea of daylight saving time was first proposed in 1895 by New Zealand's George Vernon Hudson. Although people were interested, it never caught on. In 1905, William Willett came up with the same idea in London. Why? He was an avid golfer who hated cutting short his summer rounds on the links. Again, the idea failed to catch on. The Germans and their allies were first to implement daylight savings time as a way of conserving coal during World War I. Britain and other European countries followed. The U.S. adopted DST in 1918, but it wasn't until 1966 that the whole country observed, except Hawaii and most of Arizona. All Canadian provinces were on DST by the 1970s, except Saskatchewan. Most were mostly Canada. Yukon's territory has moved to remain in DST year-round, and many Canadian provinces in the U.S. are considering similar moves or non-moves. So there you go. So there's some news for you right there when it comes to all of that stuff. If you're so intrigued and wanting to know what is going on inside of there. So interesting stuff as we do talk about it. Anyways, let's go back and talk a little bit more. 50 minutes past the top of the hour. President Joe Biden promised enough vaccines for all American adults by the end of May, but said only small gatherings will be allowed on or by July the 4th. As part of the growing vaccine supply, Biden ordered all states to open vaccinations to all adults by May the 1st. The remarks came last night as part of the first address to the nation 1 year after COVID lockdowns got serious. Despite the delivery of three vaccines in a strangely fast time, death and hospitalization rates, Biden has focused on, the negatives of what exactly was going on. But I guess that's kind of part of what you have to talk about is exactly what is going on inside of the world. I mean, there's no other way, ands, if, and buts about it. Let's talk about it that way. So there you go. Some information going on inside of the world of there. I am not hanging out anymore inside of the swamp. Let's continue talking. No winner for Tuesday night Mega Millions drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $79 million jackpot or a $54.4 million cash payout. So good luck if you're actually into that kind of stuff and playing those games. Let's continue talking real quick about some other things going on inside of the world. Here we go. So let's talk about some other some things that are going on. So let's talk about what happened back on this date. So let's take a look at 2003. The Dixie Chicks come under fire for bashing George W. Bush. Lead singer Natalie Maines had said at a recent concert that she was ashamed of the president that was also from Texas. At the time, the national sentiment towards the Iraq invasion was still favorable, and the comment caused instant backlash. Even Toby Keith played a concert in front of a backdrop that featured Natalie Maines and Saddam Hussein. That's how bad it got back in that day of what was going on. Also on this date in 2020, the NHL announces a pause to the 2019-2020 season due to COVID-19. Also, the NCAA men's basketball tournament is canceled over concerns of the virus, making the first time March Madness is not held since it began back in 1939. The women's tournament was also canceled, so just in case. Also, if you want to talk about some birthdays going on today, Eli Jackson turns 33, Danny Jones turns 35, Jamie Alexander turns 37, Sam Levine turns 39, Marlon Jackson 64, Mitt Romney turns 74. Today's birthday, Mae Young, former professional wrestler, died back in 2014. It would have been her birthday today. She was born back in 1923. If you want to talk about some other things going on, let's talk about the days of the year that you can celebrate. National Baked Scallops Day, National Girl Scout Day, and National Plant a Flower Day. So there you go, some days that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. Before I forget and before we get you out of here, I want to tell you about my friends at, of course, the my thing does not want to move. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can go to their website at afsp.org, afsp.org, or you can give them a call at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Wow, can't even speak today. So there you go. They are a suicide prevention hotline, and they're there for you. Whether you are struggling with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you are not alone. Hear about personal experience from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide. Also, they will help you if you're struggling from depression. We have now started talking mostly about them. Not that there's anything wrong with the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, because they're all part of the same group. But this one has multiple different things going on. Number one, the text thing, which a lot of people told me, hey, is there a texting option? Unfortunately, the Suicide Prevention Lifeline did not have that available, but this one does. But they're still kind of all tied into the same thing, so don't worry about it, as we do talk a little bit more of here, what is going on inside of our little show right now. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. We'll talk about it one more time. Daylight saving times does occur this weekend, just in case you wanted to know. So let's talk about some whack facts. Six-pack abs indicate that nothing about your strength or your flexibility, your stamina, your speed, or your overall level of health, just in case you did not know that. Not only does hot water make a different sound than cold water when pouring, 96% of people can correctly guess which it is based on sound alone. A second is called a second because the second division of the hour by 60. The first division bearing a minute. Monkeys sometimes floss their teeth with bird-like feathers and blades of grass. Did you know that? There you go. The Price is Right and Grand Theft Auto use the same font in their logos. Think about that real quick. How scary did that get for a moment? Another thing real quick. Not once is Humpty Dumpty nursery rhyme does it mention that he's an egg. Did you ever think about that? That's something to think about. Here's some BS news for you, just in case, if you wanted to know. In Florida, a man was arrested after stripping completely naked and bouncing on a neighbor's trampoline. Police described the man as a cooperative, but he was a bit jumpy. A New York couple got married at the age of 94. Even more amazing, the bridge father had to pay for everything. Daylight saving times begins Sunday. No word yet on how Instagram users will be able to cram 24 hours of suffering into 23 hours of fame. An Amazon delivery driver accused of urinating on packages has been charged with vandalism. He'll serve jail time and be forced to continue working at Amazon, whichever the judge decides is worse. St. Paddy's Day is just around the corner, which will occur on Wednesday. I can't celebrate this year because of my house arrest for smashing the Guinness across my forehead, and some asshole who falsely accused me of having an Irish temper. Anyway, so let's talk about it real quick. It is 56 minutes past the top of the hour. We will be going to RadioBig.fm if you want to choose to hang out with us a little bit more here over the next little bit. Let me give you some other things real quick. If you need a phone starter for a day, try this one. What happened in real life but is rarely portrayed in movies? If you need a joke for the day, no weekend, all weekend. You got that. You got that. Okay, if you need a question for the water cooler today, try this one. 16% of people say that they would have no problem buying a used one of these. What is it? An electric toothbrush. There you go. There's something to think about. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show, coming to you live. Yes, live on safetyfm.com and radiobig.fm. Thank you for hanging out with us. I should also say that we are hanging out on safety.fm, just in case you did not know that. So we are hanging out. By the way, questions about the shirt came about earlier. Just wanted to let you know, the Blues Plate University is a shirt that references this great sandwich shop down in Waco, Texas, known as Smaltz's. If you ever make it down to Waco, you definitely need to take a stop at Smaltz's. It is a great place to go to. Great sandwiches. Probably the best sandwich I've ever had in my life. I've been going there since about 1994, 3, maybe even 92. So that's how good that sandwich is. I go there every time I go to Texas. That is definitely a stop before I get the hell out of there. Always put it in there. I'll even drive to Waco. I have family in Waco. I go there mostly to see them, but I will stop in Waco just to go to that sandwich shop. Anyways, thank you for listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on our stations. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM, and that is the listener. If I can leave you with a thought for over the weekend, if you don't come to RadioBig.fm, this is what I would like to leave you with. If what you did yesterday seems big, you haven't done anything yet today. Oh, yeah. Think about it that way. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Goodbye.
The views and opinions
Don't forget about daylight savings time
of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.